Alright, so this, I'm making this video because I've forewarned about 9/11, and of course, as you know, they pulled it off and they got away with it. No one hanged for treason, and it should be obvious to the whole world, 9/11 is an inside job and a false flag operation. I mean, if you can't tell that, this you're brain dead, and there's no point of me even talking to you, because the skeptics are just a waste of time. So what I want to focus on is the witnesses who are still alive today and can be cross-examined, who I warned about 9/11 before it happened, because we can cross-examine them now and get them to speak the truth, voir dire them. Congress wants to have hearings about the Epstein files, also include that our pedophile politicians are blackmailed on 9/11 and they're able to commit treason and pull it off and get away with it because they're satanic pedophiles. So here, I call this Albert's 9/11 Witnesses, Many Forewarnings. Frank Stronach, another billionaire, the auto parts magnate. He's on trial right now in Toronto for his own sex assault case. I told Stronach about 9/11. Stronach told Bill Clinton, his very good friend. He's also POTUS of the United States. Bill Clinton, the husband of Hillary Clinton. He knew about 9/11 prior to event because Frank Stronach, the head of MAGNA, told him. Stronach is still alive and he's on trial for his own sex assault case in Toronto. On the golf course in Aurora, Stronach has his own private golf course. Bill Clinton goes there to play golf. Stronach told Clinton about 9/11 in the 1990s. Alright. How PUTHOFF and Jacques Vallée are still alive. I told Ingo Swann about 9/11. Swann told PUTHOFF. PUTHOFF told Jacques Vallée. On the day they were having Senate hearings on the remote viewing program, PUTHOFF was on the smoky back room, handed out a piece of paper and said, "Gentlemen, terrorism." Those are the predictions of Swann. He drew the picture of the World Trade Center and a plane flying into it and the controlled demolition from remote viewing. And then the head senator said, "We will have to keep the program open." And then they went out into the main auditorium and they asked Russell Targ a few questions, and then the remote viewing program continued to get funding. They still pulled off 9/11 anyway, but that's because Colonel John Alexander is one of the heads of the remote viewing program, and he's one of the lizards who implemented and executed 9/11. Colonel John Alexander. Okay, so I have PUTHOFF and Vallée. They're both still alive. They both knew about 9/11. The other witnesses to that would be Ingo Swann and Edgar Mitchell, but they're deceased. So that's why I didn't put their name on here. I want to focus on the people who are alive, who we can voir dire now. Robyn Doolittle. Ryerson. This is the same Doolittle who investigated my 2006 warnings, my 2013 warnings, and my 2019 coronavirus warnings. She was cross-examined by the review into MacArthur, the other Epstein, Gloria Epstein, the same tribe of small hats, but probably related to the Jeff Epstein, but she's Gloria Epstein, the judge who censored a civilians review and tarnished the name of civilians. In any case, let me say, how did Robyn Doolittle know about 9/11? So, Doolittle's degree in journalism is from Ryerson, the RCC, the Rogers Communication Center. Ryerson has a student newspaper. At this time, I'm wondering, what can I do about 9/11? So I walk into Ryerson, and I want to publish on the front page of the student newspaper. And who's the editor of the student newspaper? Robyn Doolittle. She knew about 9/11 long before it ever happened. And she said, oh, I'm not going to publish this because buildings cannot be justified. If you didn't say that, I would have published it. But if this does happen on 2001, September 11th, she will personally go to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and hang everyone inside. And I said, well, how would you do that? He said, oh, it'll be very easy. There would be millions of people behind me with pitchforks. They would just push in the door open. We would be hanging them on the front house of the White House lawn, from the tree, from the lamppost, day of the rope. Doolittle, you kept those warnings that I gave you. It's written in hard copy what I wanted her to publish. I already had it written down. And why did you not go on 9/12 to the White House like you promised me you would? Why did you not do that? Besides Doolittle, who had this is the Globe and Mail reporter, I had a job in King City at the health spa and fitness ranch. Murray KOFFLER, Tina KOFFLER, Adam KOFFLER all knew about 9/11 before it happened. Tina KOFFLER and the father, Murray KOFFLER, the owner of Shoppers Drug Mart, who opened the King Ranch Health Spa, they told me they would help me prevent 9/11, and instead they were rubbing their hands together, and they wanted a war with Muslims because they thought many Muslims would die. So they wanted it, once they had the full details of it, they wanted 9/11 to happen, because they knew then that it would be blamed on Osama bin Laden, the patsy, and that Muslims would be killed from the US Army, and they're the historic enemy of Israel. King City Secondary School, in my English final project I put in, it's about 9/11. Paul GINGL, he is the son of Manfred GINGL, who works at MAGNA. He knew about 9/11. We went to the same high school. The valedictorian, MCCLOUD, he also knew about 9/11. I graduated like King City High School in 1990. That whole class would have known, including the teachers, but you know, they do nothing. And then on Art Bell, in open lines, I did predict 9/11. A few times I got through with Bell as the host, and I predicted 9/11. That went out live to air to 20 million listeners. Bell is deceased, but I put him in because who's still alive, who knows about producer Lisa LYON. LYON told me she was questioning about from the FBI before 9/11, because I said it on live to air that 9/11 would happen. There's audio tape of Art Bell and myself talking about 9/11 on open lines. TPS stands for the Toronto Police Service. I did tell them at 40 College Street, the police headquarters, the desk sergeant assaulted me and kicked me out of the building. But from there I went to a lawyer's office and told them about 9/11. And then in 2013, when I correctly predicted Incel Danforth MacArthur, those warnings are fined by the lead lawyer, Mark Sandler of the Review, the Civilians Review into MacArthur. It's done by lawyers into police negligence and incompetence. And they know perfectly well I predicted 9/11. Unfortunately, the judge, Gloria Epstein, her favorite thing is to tarnish the name of civilians. So she's rubbing her hands together, and it's like, let's tarnish the name of civilians. Let's hide all these predictions he gave us and cover up the 9/11. Yeah, let's just take the $5 million and falsify our Civilians Review, the Epstein report. Sandler and Naz, the lawyers who cross-examined me, they knew about 9/11 because I told them about Frank Stronach. And it would also be funny if Stronach, who's now on a sex assault case, trial if the prosecutor wasn't asked from the review, because now they told me she is a Crown attorney. But anyway, Sandler also dug into the Toronto police files, and he knows I predicted 9/11. He knows it's on the Art Bell show. He knows Puthoff in VALLEE knew about it, and it's squashed down by Alexander, the reptilian. And the final thing, if you know, the satanic pedophiles, POTUS, it doesn't run the world. Devil is the god of this world. And I've said this before many times. Lucifer, 1600 Pennsylvania, the basement of the White House. Lucifer sits at the head of the table. There's 12 men sitting around him. One of them was POTUS at the other far end of the table, on the other side, and not the other head, but on the side of it. Lawrence Rockefeller was at the right hand of Satan, Lucifer, and there is 2 aliens in the white tuxedos wearing black Hoffman lenses at the left and the right hand side of Satan, the devil, Lucifer. He flies right through the roof of the White House, lands in the basement. White tuxedo guy runs and opens the door for him, pulls the chair out for him. He sits down, and then the meeting starts. Lawrence Rockefeller signs, this is from 1972. Lawrence Rockefeller signs all the paperwork. Spray chemtrails in there, signed, Lawrence Rockefeller. Impeach Nixon, signed, Lawrence Rockefeller. The next president will be Jimmy Carter, signed, Lawrence Rockefeller. That's all filed away somewhere in the White House. That meeting was held to impeach Nixon. Okay, the camera's cutting to 15 minutes, so I had to get up and push the button again. So, in the 1970s, I'm privy to an Illuminati meeting in the basement of the White House. Lucifer flies down from outer space right through the roof of the White House. He lands in the basement. White tuxedo alien jumps up and opens the door for him and pulls the chair out for him. Lawrence Rockefeller is the right-hand man. There's 2 tuxedoed aliens at his left and right. Then it's Lawrence Rockefeller. At the other end of the table, on the other side, was the POTUS. At that time, it was Richard Nixon. We will impeach you. You won't know when, you won't know how, but we will impeach you. Then the other person at the end of the table handed Nixon a handkerchief, and he was wiping the sweat off of his forehead. From there, Lawrence Rockefeller starts making phone calls. One of the phone calls goes to Ingo Swann. Go to the Watergate Hotel, bug the phone. This is and then follow, see, watch what's in the newspaper. And you know, G. Gordon Liddy takes the fall for it and gets blamed, but the whole thing was set up to impeach Nixon. Nixon never bugged anyone's phone. that was Ingo Swann. but anyway, as things are going along, they decide they don't want a Patsy Swan. They want him for the remote viewing program because they need help Puthoff to reverse engineer the 0-point energy, and then it goes on. But anyway, what I'm saying is the devil is God of this world. POTUS is always going to be a satanic pedophile who could be blackmailed, because Lucifer grooms these guys from birth, and they're also able to shape-shift and time travel. But in any case, I probably went too far down the rabbit hole for an average normie. But here's the whole point of making this video. All these witnesses on this board are still alive, and they know I predicted 9/11 to them, and I want to go over their names again to bring some normalcy and understanding back to this video. Frank Stronach, he's alive today. I told him about 9/11. He told Bill Clinton. How Puthoff and Jacques Vallée knew about 9/11. They're both still alive. Robyn Doolittle, Toronto Star, Globe and Mail, reporter, alumni of Ryerson. She knew about 9/11. The KOFFLERs at King City Health Ranch and Spa. Tina KOFFLER especially. I was working with her to try to prevent 9/11. The Father Murray said no, he doesn't want to prevent it because a lot of the Arabs would end up dead, and that's good news to him. King City Secondary School, Paul GINGL, another guy from MAGNA. The Valedictorian, Ken McLeod. I know Art Bell is deceased. I said it on his radio show. There's audio tape of that. Lisa Lyon was questioned by the FBI after I said on open lines 9/11. Toronto Police Services, 40 College Street. They knew about 9/11, so did some lawyers in Toronto. The Civilians Review into MacArthur, GLORIA, Epstein, Naz, and Sandler. They proved that I predicted 9/11 to the Toronto Police Services. They censored me out of their Civilians Review. They had new predictions on the coronavirus set of predictions, which they are hiding. They found the 2013 predictions, which includes France, Pulse nightclub, and the 3 events in Toronto. So in 1990, I predicted 9/11. 2006, I predicted Fukushima, a whole list. BP oil spill. They have that at IRVA. 2006, Colonel John Alexander comes out, takes the hard copy. Ed Dames and Paul Smith are witness. 2013, the Ryerson set of predictions, which is Bataclan Theatre, France, the 3 Toronto events, and Pulse nightclub. That's the one Mark Sandler, the lead lawyer from the Review, finds. They phone me and say, come in and give a statement. I give them a new set of predictions, the virus, Kobe Bryant, and Gabriel Wortman. Ukraine Jet 752 is in there as well. And then the Jewish judge, Epstein, censors it, and now they're pretending that I was, that I was never even there. They are claiming lawyers' privilege when they are asked about this. You cannot do that in the Civilians Review. Sandler and Naz are still alive. Cross-examine them. They know I predicted 9/11 in 1990 because they looked into this and they found I did tell the Toronto police. They also they know who STRONACH is. He's on trial for sex assault right now in Toronto. That would be funny if Naz was the prosecutor because she knows all about this. One of the people who's ever done the most about this is that reporter, ROBYN DOOLITTLE. She's now at the Globe and Mail. I told her 9/11 to her face, also gave her a hard copy. She refused to put it in the student newspaper at the time she was the editor of the school newspaper at Ryerson. But she knows I told her. And then she knows about the 2006 warnings, which also includes Tori Stafford, by the way. She knows about the 2013 Ryerson warnings because she comes to Ryerson and takes them and gives it to the editor Walmsley. Charles Falzon, the dean of FCAD, also knows about this. And this is where the Review gets involved, the GLORIA Epstein. And then 2019, a coronavirus set of predictions that the Review has and is hiding from the world. But so again, the main point of this is that now Congress in the United States is trying to have hearings and include 9/11 in there, include the UAP stuff, include the 0 point energy. PUTHOFF and Swan are the 0 point energy guys. That also comes with a 9/11 forewarning. Get all my witnesses in a room and let them talk and voir dire all these people. I did predict 9/11. These people on the board are still alive and can tell you I did.